Huh?
I think it may be a little slow.
Okay. We'll start this public hearing, the personnel policy.
All right, so personnel policy, edition 1 was approved at a, special town meeting on August 31st, 2017. And it served us well for a few years, but we started to notice some cracks in it, several years ago. One of the things had to do with how we defined types of employees. Some people thought that our definition of an on-call employee meant that if somebody called you out, then you were an on-call employee and you got certain type of benefits. When it was really intended to be for firemen. We had to clarify that because people questioned it, that you can't use sick leave and have it count towards overtime. People try.
Yeah.
People have quit over it, yeah, honestly.
They tried that when I was about 20.
We have discovered that our annual leave policy was severely compromised in that it required you to use it all or you'd lose it at the end of the year, but you didn't accumulate it all until the end of the year. So, you know, you couldn't take any vacation in January, February, because you hadn't earned it yet. You know, you have to wait till the end of the year. We've put in a rollover policy that's more in tune with most businesses do. Then there's a 2023 labor law that went into effect that state mandated that just about everybody gets paid time off if you work 40 hours. And a few other things that were all intended to bring us up in line with general practices and the law. That's basically it. It was a lot of work because some of these laws, particularly the labor law that just came out in 2023, was very complex, complicated. It had all kinds of guidance from the state, you know, that who is and who isn't included in the various categories. That's essentially it. Luckily, it didn't grow any longer. It just changed a bit. So,
yes. Okay, so I know in the summertime the road crew have worked 10-hour days, which I think is great because it's great for morale. But to have them so that they are all off on the same day, could there be something so that it's rotating?
That's not in the policy. It's a, the purpose of the policy is not to set people's schedules per se, with a few minor exceptions. It's to make sure everybody gets treated equally, so that
right.
If this person claims out, you know, going to get sick leave or annual leave or whatever, everybody else within this town government gets treated equally. So we don't set the road crews hours, we don't set the fire departments or the people across the road. We have 3 independently elected branches of government, and to a degree, they manage themselves. And that's why this is an ordinance, not a policy, so that it applies to everybody.
So is there a way that the policy can be changed? Because like last year, they were all off on Fridays, and of course last year we had a lot of rain, a lot of road issues, and you know, we either pay overtime or we take and work it so that they're on a schedule so that one person's off one day, one person's off another day.
I think with the skeleton crew that we have, if you take one person off one day and another person off another day, you're going to be short-handed. And Chris is usually is pretty good at, if they have to work on Friday, they may cut hours during the week of the following week, so they wouldn't have wouldn't have to pay him overtime. So he's pretty good about managing the time.
I would just say that that's up to the road commissioner to set his schedules and,
Yes, Joe.
Yeah, I would hate to micromanage the road crew like that. I know I personally hate to be micromanaged, and I find as a manager, it's counterproductive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But most businesses,
Nobody would
that's what they
after they
do.
tried once.
Most businesses, if they, during the summertime, if they elect to have, so that you work the 4 10-hour days, they work it on a rotating schedule so that everybody's not off on the same day.
I'll tell you that the only thing that's in here that addresses schedules is, because it was an issue, is we require the, tax collector, town clerk's office to be open at lunchtime.
I did see that.
Yeah.
That's a great
And
idea.
it was an issue that was raised long and hard, and, that was the only one that we addressed. How other people work, in fact, we as the selectmen don't dedicate or dictate when the CEO has to work. We say, you've got a job, you need to set your schedule so to meet it, and then figure out how to do it. And if we get a complaint, then that's something that we can control, but for the road commissioner, that's something that's within his purview to manage. And I'm not sure that we need to set that in this policy. Now, that might be something you could take up with the road commissioner if you think there's an issue and you got a smarter way to do things.
I'm just suggesting that it might be better for, the town in a roundabout way, especially like last year where we did have so many issues with the roads. Washing out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then if somebody tries to call in to the road commissioner, would he not answer the phone on Friday when there might be some weather emergencies going on?
Would you, Chris?
Well, I won't answer the shop phone, but I have a town-provided cell phone that's pretty much in the house all the time or on my body all the time. And on top of that, anyone can feel free to call Cumberland County Dispatch at any time, talk to an on-duty dispatcher, and they reach out to me on my personal phone if I don't answer the other one, which happens all the time.
It's the on-call portion that we're talking about.
Yeah, I get phone calls at 2 a.m. from Cumberland County for a dead deer on a road. We've got a dead deer that needs to be picked up on 107 or 113 or Senator Black Road. It happens all the time. I had one 2 nights ago at 12:30 at night. Yep.
Game wants to stay on that.
They handle the incident, or maybe, but we have to go pick them up usually.
Well, they usually have a list of people to call if they.
Yeah, that's only if they're good.
No, I thank you for the suggestion. I don't know if it's better one way or the other. At this point, I don't think it's worthwhile trying to micromanage it, but, it's a suggestion. It's good to think about.
Yeah, no.
I noticed a number of things. In the background on I think it's the first page, I didn't print out the whole thing. In parentheses 1, it says the selectmen, the treasurer, the road commissioners adopt this ordinance. I don't believe any of those outfits adopt the ordinance. Adoption is at town meeting by the legislative body. I would like us to be precise in that some years from now, when we're all dead and forgotten, some new bunch of people think they can adopt something outside of town meeting. Can't happen.
Yeah.
So
That's a good one. Yep.
I'd like to swap that word out. Also, we talk a lot about hiring and employment, but we don't address nepotism. And one of the things that can cause a lot of angst and discontent in a town is nepotism. I don't know what to do about it, but I think we need to think about it.
So, just a minute before we get away from that then.
Huh?
So you think we should have a statement in here that we
well, it's a small town, somebody's related to everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's basically should be addressed in the, in
There's conflict
the
of interest.
employment decision and also in supervision, to make sure that, you know, my useless nephew doesn't get treated better than somebody else if I'm in charge of something. And whether he's useless or not, the perception may be there. It's a can of worms, as you know. And more so, I think, in municipal employment. I don't know how to deal with it.
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah,
So,
see if you
we ain't
can-
gonna do that, but, you know, it's like,
Again, we're
just
talking.
because your father is, head of the road crew doesn't mean you shouldn't work mowing grass or something.
Right, right, but it's a sticky thing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna win either way, but I think it needs to somehow be
Not good,
addressed.
All right, I'll see if I can find a way to.
Okay. 38E. At the end of that, it says the gate, or at the end, must be closed at the day. And I think some words got left out, I think it's maybe at the end of the day. 38E, Bob.
I think you're right.
I sat with that for 2 or 3 minutes, figure out. So anyway, and the other thing, who was responsible for closing it? You know, I can't see our town clerk Debbie at age 85 having to go out there and swing that gate closed.
But I think this is a left, something that didn't get.
Yeah, I think that was
The
left over.
BAK.
BAK, they were supposed to close the gate when.
What, whatever, but, you know, it's a small thing.
Yeah.
Now, section 52, paragraph C, subparagraph B, we talk about people with drug problems. And we talk about they can be fired or we send them off to drug rehab. Let me know when you're there, Bob. 52C sub B.
Town of Baldwin will, within 30 days of receiving notice, with any respect to any employee who is so convicted, will take one of the following actions, okay? B, requiring such employees to participate satisfactorily in a drug abuse assistance rehab program.
Now, that drug rehab, I would like us to specify who pays for that. I can see somebody getting a druggie problem and getting the right drug counselor or something like that, and he prescribes that this person should spend 4 weeks in Hawaii drying out. I mean, I can see it, well, just specify who pays for it, at the employee's expense. Because otherwise, you know, we might all start shooting
Okay.
drugs.
We should have had you, we should have had you here with the.
No.
All the things.
That's
All this all straightened out.
The last time we did it, we went through the same process.
Yeah.
Where people had read it, and people see stuff that you don't think of when you write it.
Well, you know, I pain in the ass, I like picture of it. No, I got another
I
one.
think the last one you picked up on was providing dupes to the road crew.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's safe to say. Now, it said in the, was that the Shopper's Guide, that there's the Baldwin Town government has 3 independently elected branches, each with the ability to have employees. That's not true.
No?
There are 4 branches of government in Baldwin. The 4th one, actually it's the first one, is the town meeting. That's a branch of government. You say, well, they don't hire anybody. Yes, we do. Article 1, to choose or elect moderator to preside. We are, in effect, hiring a employee. Now, some towns, and I know a few of them because they hire me to be moderator and pay me money. And that's a good thing. In Baldwin, I know when Roy Wood was moderator, he used to get $50. You know, 30 years ago, that was a good chunk of change. Larry, when he started off, got it a little bit, then he wouldn't take it, and I would never take it, and David's never taken it, or asked for it. However, I believe that we are hiring an employee for the duration of a given meeting or special town meeting. In every town that I moderate in, the selectmen set the rate of compensation. Now, as I see it, that could be set anywhere between $0 and $500 million. You can't go over $500 million. But I think that should be specified, and we should also specify that, because we specify that some employees are not eligible for certain benefits and stuff. We should specify that the moderator is not eligible to get 80% subsidized health care and days off. This stops something from happening again further down the road. And under the laws of the state of Maine, you don't even have to be a citizen, a resident of the town. You have to be a citizen and a resident of the state of Maine and a citizen of the USA.
To be a moderator.
Yeah, to be a moderator. So we could have some bozo come in and give us trouble. I think that needs to be specified. I think for those of us who work in our own town, the princely sum of $0 per meeting is fine, but should say so. It's a CYA thing.
Yep.
And that's what, 1, 2, 3, I only have 5 complaints.
You get better.
Who's getting better?
Shut them up a little bit. No, but they're all legit, too.
Anything else?
All right, no more comments?
So what we'll do is we'll go back and crank these in, do a little research on them to figure out how to best do it. And then the next time you'll see it will be with a notice for a special town meeting for a vote.
Because I was looking for that on the website and couldn't find it.
It's way down.
Yeah.
I went to the bottom of the page.
Well, it's not easy to find.
No, it isn't.
You know, it's like,
I could have just.
And it was actually a web page that took it, you clicked on to go to it.
There's a link.
Yeah.
Under the ad.
Yeah.
it's red print on blue, as I recall, and kind of like woodchuck hunting.
So there'll be, after you do those revisions, there'll be a new one online.
Yeah, there'll be an updated one that shows what we've done, and then there'll be a meeting to vote on it, and, we will try to.
We had a lot of different hearings, so they're all posted on the homepage. So if you scroll down, and I usually put them in order of date. So, 3/19, public hearing's gonna come before 3/26, obviously, and then there'll be another one April 2nd. So that's a little bit further down. But right under the ad is the link.
Okay. Let me see.
The other thing I wanna say is, there's been a flurry of public hearings, and it's probably gonna go on for a while till we get through a bunch of stuff, but we don't wanna wait and do a bunch of this at a town meeting, because it could clog us up and we'd be there all day and all night.
It might not hurt if we had one border area just for town meetings, and then you could click on, April 30th, something, and then you click on it and get the details. But you tell it's gonna be a hearing for, personnel policy or to stop plowing all roads or whatever. But like I said, just put them all in one box, be easier to find.
Easy to find, hard to implement.
What?
It's easy to find, hard to implement.
Oh.
We're using that old, GoDaddy website that's a version of it that's no longer maintained.
Yeah,
You break it, you're in trouble.
how much is a new webpage
I
software?
don't know, we're looking at it, they're trying to see who's, and what might be out there that's a little better.
I mean, we could call some of the neighboring towns, see what they're using.
Yeah, well, most of them use GoDaddy, so it might be just a new version of GoDaddy
Oh, yeah.
would suffice, but,
I think it's a worthwhile expenditure.
Well, a few of the towns use GoDaddy. A lot of the towns use Civic Plus, which is a governmental website. I've researched the whole thing.
Oh.
I'm still looking. There's a couple that use Town Cloud, which we may meet with, but that's, even more basic. There's no graphics there to speak of, just maybe on the homepage a little bit, but the format would look extremely different than what you're accustomed to now, but it's an option. So you've got to look at, you know, there's different things that you need to look at in terms of, who's managing it, what you get, you know, for your monthly subscription and all of that. There was GoDaddy, ours is a truncated, expired version, basically. Like Bob said, the newer versions look real good, but our IT person questioned security issues with something that happened with the Attorney General's office in terms of needing to shut down the site, when there was a breach. So we need to kind of look at different things, and that's on our to-do list, certainly.
It's worth spending money on.
Mm-hmm.
I have, on my laptop, I can't get the whole page on my screen. The little boxes that are on the left-hand side that tell you where to go to find things are only half visible.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah, and that's annoying to me because I usually could go to that, click on it and be right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a feature of the GoDaddy version that we have, or if it's a feature of your operating system.
Well, it used to be okay. It's just that recently, I'd say within the last maybe 6 or 8 months,
Yeah.
I started doing that.
So I have 2 or 3 different, web browsers on my computer, and each one interacts differently with my computer.
Yeah.
Depending on which site you bring up. Some of them I just can't connect with websites. Others, when it comes up, it looks different, you know? Like the Registry of Deeds, it looks different than all the 3 browsers that I use. How can it be? You'd think it would be all uniform, but they're different.
Well, maybe as we look at doing an expansion of our programming, we can look
Yeah.
at that problem too, and see if it's something that's inherent or.
And then a lot of people just use their phones.
My phone's even worse.
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
We can't see anything but at our age.
All right, any other questions? Comments? All right, we'll close the public hearing.
Thank you all for coming. Those who want to stick around, move right into the.
Don't be insulted, but I'm gonna go home and have a beverage.
So that wasn't me too, I
Take care now.
See ya.
All right,
See you
well,
Wednesday,
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
for comments to meet the order, this thing is property tax abatement for Cortland Alexander.
I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and tabled it for me to do some research.
Yeah.
It turns out that the house that he, received was taxed at $1,619 for the year for a house nobody could live in, and he had it torn down in, July. So I would move that we abate the value of his house, not the land, because the land is still there and it's usable and whatnot. But
Yeah.
that's $1,268.
Okay, I'll second that. All right.
He's done us a favor, actually.
Yeah, I did. Next next thing is sweeps a charitable request.
Did you see that?
No.
So Sweetser wants to know, how do you get a charitable request in front of the town? I think you just write a letter, right?
Yes, Jenny has a copy of the email there, I think. They didn't specify amount, they just wanted to, like
What
you
the
said,
process
ask,
was.
right, and, so I didn't know if you wanted to discuss,
The nonprofit?
yes,
Okay, so I think they qualify, they don't have to get the, petition going. The nonprofits are exempt from, exactly request, I guess.
and then we would just have
I'll
to
draft
create.
up a reply for them.
Okay, and then we just have to, when they said in their press, create a warrant article for it, right?
Yeah.
Like we
I
do for the
suggest
others.
that we wait till next year, because we've got most everything we need.
Okay.
And reminder, we have planning board meeting on Thursday. So we gonna hold off on budget meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, get some more. No budget meeting.
Oh, by the way though, Dale's off looking at the budget meeting. I think Baldwin escaped again.
Yeah. For what?
I don't know how this is working, but I like to think that I can read the tea leaves a little bit, but it's not working because Baldwin got off with a 2-cent mill rate increase. Everybody else is right up there.
Did we lose pupil numbers?
I don't think the people numbers is what goes into it, but
That's one of the factors, one of the many factors.
yeah.
It's just the only one I could think of off the top of my head.
With all the houses that's been going up the last couple of years, people didn't.
They might not have kids.
The thing that Carl hones in on, and as far as I know, it's probably the biggest influence, is the municipal valuation. And Baldwin's, here's got a little chart that goes out, was a 6% increase, and all the other ones were 9.5 or better. So, yeah, no, it looks pretty good. We're looking at the undesignated fund balance carryover from 2023, which is a year out, a year behind us, but that looked like we came through with a good fund balance as well, so I think we're gonna be all right. I was worried there for a while. Good.
Sandy, you got anything?
No, just keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you. Kathy?
One step forward, another electrician has come in and looked at the job for the changing out the lighting in the building, so maybe we'll find out what his numbers come like. He says that it depends on how many hours the library is open as to whether or not Efficiency Maine will actually pay you the 80% purchase price of the lighting, and some lights qualify and others do not. So anything that's like an old-fashioned fluorescent 2-tube fixture qualifies, and any of the more modern ones with the little ones don't necessarily. So we gotta submit this information all over again and find out if it applies. I have no clue.
What a pain, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got the pole welded so it's not gonna fall down. Cost a slight arm and a leg.
Yeah.
But that's all I had. And then, Historical is meeting on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, in the community room.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul was telling me they were gonna go over the graveyard cemetery.
Yeah,
You know.
which is really cool.
I was gonna ask the old man if he wanted to go tomorrow.
Absolutely, bring him down.
Yeah.
That's about it, but thanks.
Very good.
I don't, thank you though for all the work you do.
Thank you.
It sounds like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Some days more than others.
Joe?
I'm good. Good? Thank you.
Julie, you got anything?
I'm good.
Mariella?
I'm good.
Okay. Mrs. Butler, you got anything? Correct.
We had snow, quite a bit of snow, a little bit of rain and sleet to mix in with it, but we made it through it all right. Didn't break anything.
Yeah.
So that's always a good sign. Other than that, one of the things that we took a work zone safety class this week. That was one of the things that we got nabbed on with BLS.
Oh, okay.
So that was taken care of finally. They offered it and we were like, yep, over there.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything's good. Trucks are all good. Everything's running. It's cool. No problems. Good. All is well.
Good.
So we'll wait for some other mountain. We'll get back to doing some of the other stuff.
It must have been high the other day with, I mean, the ground's totally thawed out now. It's.
Dirt was a very good challenge.
Yeah.
Pavement wasn't horrible, but there's still a lot of soft spots. I've had a lot of phone calls about road postings, but everyone I've talked to has been pretty good about understanding that, the ground's still too soft. Even though the frost is pretty much out, but
Right.
it's very soft still. You drive over it with a big truck and you can watch the whole road still wave out. So I'm gonna hold out a little bit longer and see if we can get rid of some of it before we unpost them. By law, we have till May 15th, so.
Yeah, yeah. I know a couple places on.
I hope it's not that long by any means, but,
A couple places on Cram Road got kind of.
yeah,
gouged up.
yeah.
The thawed out and then.
Yeah.
You got it.
So we're not short on plows or
Nope.
able to plow?
Not bad.
Because we have had to plow, the last 2 years, we've had such mild winters.
Yep.
And my husband has had to plow our entire
Well,
road 9 times last year.
so-
This last storm, he had to plow our whole road and half of Graham.
So part of that is because where we still have such a small crew, and that's not because we're short, it's because of the finances of it all, is for us to make a full trip, it's over 3 hours for us to do each route. So we have 3 guys that run, and they each run 3-hour runs.
So then do we need to look into building our crew, getting more people in there?
It would be ideal. During bigger snow events like this one, we had 4 people. But one of them is basically dedicated to a dirt road guy. So he goes and does all the dirt road, but with the dirt road being so soft, a typical road, I did like Sand Pond, for instance, because it was such a soft road and it was such heavy wet snow, because it took us 3 hours to get back to it, we had 6 inches of snow back onto it.
Yep.
And for us to push it in a small truck, because it's a dirt road, it took me 25 minutes to do that one road. So it even took me even longer to do all those.
So-
This storm specifically.
So how do we go about building our crew then? Because we can't be plowing our whole road with a little pickup truck just to get our people safely home.
Put some more people on,
How do we,
yeah, we just put more money into his budget and he can hire people, as we were talking about earlier.
I mean, is everybody having an issue or is it
It
just
all,
us?
it all depends on the town. So you have so Standish has 26 miles of their road they contract out through private contractors. They currently, I think, have a crew of 6 people, and then they contract 3 other
So
contractors
they
on
can
top of
have
it.
people.
So they have other contractors that come in and do 26 miles of road that contractor is responsible for. They divide it up between 3 people. I actually just talked to John Cross today, which is the public works director down in Standish. And this year, they've actually deleted their contractors. They're not, next winter, they won't have a contractor. And they bought 3 new trucks, and they're hiring 2 more full-time guys and 2 more part-time guys for next winter.
So what do you think?
Sebago is doing Sebago may be doing a very similar thing with getting rid of their contractors. So Sebago has 3 guys, and they plow 26 miles of road. They also have a contractor that plows the other 21 miles or something like that they plow. So Sebago has a total of they've got their 3 guys with a 4th time guy that they can call in, And then they also have a contractor that has, a big truck, and then they run 2 1-tons as well. So they get a total of 6 guys to plow. We're within, I think last I looked, we were within like 0.3 of a mile of the same mileage that they plow. So we're plowing the same amount of mileage with half the crews that most of the other
So
guys are.
what, because you're out there doing it, what do you think you would like to do? Would you like a
So one of-
contractor, or would you like?
Contractors are good and bad, they have their pros and cons. One of the things that I did look at putting into our budget, which I put in for, was possibly looking at adding a part-time guy for starting them in the winter and then being able to carry them all through the year. And just as a part-time, not an additional full-time guy, but as a part-time person, that way we do have that extra person during the storms, and then we still could have the calling guys that we have now. So we have that, so we have 4 guys plus a call-in, which would allow us to go up to 5 during a snowstorm.
Yep, and then the guy, the calling guy, would he have to supply his own truck?
No, we would have our own trucks, yep. Currently we have enough trucks.
Okay, so how many trucks do you have that are workable?
Currently, which we've been discussing about one of them, may go up to bid, but currently we have 3 big trucks and 2 1-tons. Well, currently we actually have 4 big trucks and 2 1-tons.
And so usually in
one
a
of them we may
storm,
be going out.
3 or 4 are on.
3 or 4 of them are on our
So
truck.
we could easily have a
Yep.
couple more people, and
Yep.
that would be a huge, I don't know. how
It'd be a relief
everybody-
off from us and,
Exactly,
you know,
everybody.
like you said, you know, it's 3 hours, you're going back to that road.
Yep.
And in 3 hours like this last
A lot
one,
happened.
we were getting 6 inches in 3 hours.
I know you went by once, and it was like, and then, like, an hour later, it was like, oh my God, doesn't even look like you've gone by.
Yeah.
But I know you
Yep.
have, because I heard you,
Yep.
you know, go by.
Yep.
Yeah, so I hope that we can work as a town to help them out and get it, so it's all, everybody's working. And I mean, not everyone's working, but I mean, you
Yeah.
got the people that you
Right.
need,
Yep.
so it can be done. Because now we have 3 people in our family at the end of Wentworth Road
Yep.
who are emergency workers, they have to
Yep.
work no matter what the weather.
No, it's a question of just hiring people and paying them, and, you'll see at town meeting time that the road is the biggest increase in the budget. A lot of it is labor. You can't hire people like we did, you know, we can't hire a person to drive truck that we paid our road commissioner just a couple of years ago. We can't hire a part-time driver. So it's, but we have to deal with it, so.
And some towns contract the whole thing out, you know, which there's pros and cons, like he said, you know, they don't have their own trucks, they contract it all out. I mean, we've got 2 new babies right now, so, you know, let's, you gotta use them.
Now, Chris, is it wise for a private citizen to be plowing the roads?
Not really. Nor is it wise for them to be fixing roads.
Right. I
It's
know.
not wise, but if the private person doesn't plow their own road, their family goes off the road or can't get home. So,
You give him a call.
You have to do what
Call
you-
him, give him a call.
give him a call, he's out working his butt off with everybody else. It's not like they can hurry up and come back from there 3 hours.
If something happened to his truck, then who's liable?
Yeah, we need to send the town a bill, and for 9 times last year too.
Right.
And it's not Chris's fault, so don't think for a second that I'm.
You're good, you're good.
I know with the campground, there was a very stipulation that they couldn't work on the road up there unless they went through him first, so through
Yeah,
the.
I'd
through
like
the-
to not have to plow our own
Yeah.
road, but if people can't get home and people are going off the road, people need to
No.
do it. I mean, it's not.
We're trying to work on a plan just so it's not like that for
Yeah.
next winter.
Yeah.
That's one of the reflections in
And
our
we wanna
budget is
help.
to try to make it so we can have that extra person. And actually, to touch on what Mary O was saying is that ideally what I'd like to do is have that part-time person, if I can get one hired for next winter, not this spring, not this summer, but for the winter time and fall, is to be able to have that person working on a Friday so they can come in and do like the services on the trucks and washing trucks or whatever. That way we're not taking our time on a day that should be out ditching the road or doing culverts or fixing something. you know, we're not having to say, okay, we've got to pull this truck off the road because it's ready for service. That truck's not having any downtime because I've got that extra person doing them on a day that we're not necessarily using the truck on the road to begin with. So that was kind of my thought. I haven't, obviously, we have to go through budget first and get through all that first and go from there.
But that's important.
The other thing you'll see, this, not to, get ahead of ourselves at town meeting, but, we've asked Chris to take a good hard look at what's needed down the road and put into the capital investment plan replacements for trucks. I know those two, small trucks are on their last leg. And if we've got people but no trucks, then we're back in the same position. And, so we have to invest in trucks, those are very expensive. We have to invest in drivers, those are expensive. The salt's going up, I mean, it's terrible, but
Yeah, it's
it's
expensive,
part of
but our
what we're
town-
required to do, so, yeah. That's, we're getting there, I think.
So that's all I had.
Yeah, you got anything?
Nope.
Not that?
Yep.
Anybody swimming yet?
Not yet.
All right. Robin?
All set, thank you.
Come married to Brian, like this. You got anything, Bob?
No.
I'm all.
So we'll adjourn.
I second it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
What happened?
I do one fundraiser a year. And it's the Mary's Fire and Mary's Brick here. And we go up to Lost Valley and we all firefighters were full time here. We race down to the race course.
You were in school, Brian,
I was.